Hello, Hunter. It is so great to meet you and have you on the Respect My Region platform. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Let's get right into this interview. So,
Okay,
for those that are maybe not familiar with you, could you give a little background on who you are and also where you come from?
cool. Yeah, I'm a producer of house and techno from Toronto. And I've been making music for a long time. I've been a touring artist for about 10 years now, under like various projects and stuff. And this is sort of my I guess my newest, I won't say final because who knows where I'll go, but this is sort of my like newest version of my endeavor. And yeah, I'm making sort of a blend of progressive house and techno and trying to just bring something new to the table and mix it up a little bit and I run a label as well called No Neon, and it's actually stems from an event brand that's been going on here for 7 years. And we just started the label at basically last year, the top of the pandemic. So that was an interesting time to start. Um, and yeah, I've released my last few songs with mau5trap, and that's that's, I guess that's all there is to say so far about what's happening.
Well,
Yeah,
congrats on that.
yeah, thanks.
That's huge.
Yeah, I appreciate
So,
that.
something that I've learned since like writing a lot about music is that like where
Mm,
an artist comes from and live
hmm.
and or lives like really influences their sound. So how do you feel
Absolutely,
that
yeah, for sure.
Toronto has influenced your sound?
Yeah, totally. That's you know what? There's a lot of truth to that. How it's influenced my sound, I'm not, it's very hard to say, like it's hard to be like reflective of what I do because I don't necessarily like feel like I sound like or do things like a lot of the other people that sort of come from here. But I guess there's something to be said about like how cold it is here and like how dreary like half your year is. I feel like there's a
Mhm.
reason that Canadian artists have this sort of like, you know, I guess it's like a colder sound or something, or like there's a lot of sad music or something because it's, it gets dark at like 5 p.m. for like half the year,
Oh, wow.
or maybe not, maybe that's an exaggeration, but for like a very long period, it's extremely cold and it gets dark. So if you're not one of the people who like takes off, then you got to work through that. But it's weird. I could say like more how it affects like our like events and like that kind of thing than I can about like my sound specifically because I don't know that I really have a lot of like what is the like considered traditionally popular sound that's from here or what. Um, Definitely guys like Dead Mouse influence what I'm doing. So like I guess there's that sort of part of it, but I don't think we have a dance music sound here. That's more of a like there's a hip hop sound from Toronto. It's like and it sounds like
Yeah.
Drake, Weekend, stuff like that has like this very like filtered samples kind of thing going on. But like for dance music, there's it's a pretty big melting pot of like different artists. It's like very similar to somewhere like LA where there's just like anything you like is here. And I guess sort of
Hmm.
if I had to say how it like what it had to do with my sound, it's like the fact that I've ever since I've been into music and like going to events and stuff, I've had the possibility to see every different kind of music I could want to. And so I guess that has influenced like, I find um there is sort of like a drum and bass and like bass music element to like what I do. I bring that sort of like flavor into the kind of music I make, even though it's very like progressive or like, dark techno or whatever. So yeah, I guess sort of like the melting pot is what I would say is the biggest contribution to like my sound specifically.
Gotcha. So it's like more
Yeah,
so the city rather than the specific artist within the city.
totally. It's just the fact that you can see anything and you can go. I could go to like a noise core night or something and like get inspired by something I've never heard before if I wanted to. There's just literally every kind of like anything that there is. So it's just
Yeah,
interesting. Like if you like watching dudes like play on a modular system and do whatever, I'm sure one night every like 3 months you could find that.
that's
So it's
really
pretty cool. It's
cool.
it's very eclectic. It's like it's pretty cool. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm like a big champion of like of our music scene here. I think a lot of people sort of like sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Or no, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, sorry. So I think a lot of people shit on it unfairly. And I think it's great. Like I actually feel very lucky to have been able to be somewhere like this. They think
Hmm.
coming from a small town, you'd have what, like rock and roll or whatever your parents are listening to.
Yeah.
It's like you come
Yeah.
somewhere like this and it's like, wow, this is like a whole world of like different things, you know?
Yeah, that's super
So
cool to
yeah,
grow up in, because I
totally.
grew up in a small town and I just had, cause I'm from Florida, so I had like kind of
Yeah,
small reggae bands and little
totally.
rock bands and stuff like that.
So I get a bit of both worlds because I grew up somewhere very small until I was about 12, and then
Okay.
came here. But it's like weird. I can remember notably like my whole life there feeling like I didn't fit in there. You know, like I always wanted to, like I would watch TV and like I liked stuff like rap music and like all the stuff that was like, you know, all the other kids didn't like that stuff. Like they thought it was
Hmm.
like, you know, whatever. I don't know. Uh,
Yeah.
they were all into like ACDC and whatever their parents liked, you know, I don't know. And I was
Yeah.
like, I loved like Nirvana and like rap music and like all this like, yeah, Nirvana, obviously. It's funny. But yeah. So yeah, I sort of have like that. I can understand the point of view of both of them, even though I've lived here for like more than half my life or whatever, you know?
Yeah, that's cool that you have both perspectives.
Totally.
So, how would you describe your music, but without saying an actual genre?
Oh yeah, that's an easy one because I have to do that quite frequently. It's dark, and it's driving, and it's you know, pretty at points, but still like pretty hard, you know?
Yeah,
That's just
that's perfect.
what it, yeah, that's just what it is. Yeah. I definitely try to have like a, you know, even with my label, that's our perspective. I don't really genres are like very limiting, I think sometimes. It's like
Hmm.
good to be in something because it's to be able to identify what you do is important. But even like from the label standpoint, like when people are sending me stuff, I think of it like, do I like this? Not is this the genre that I should be caring about or whatever. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
So a few days ago, you released your latest single, "Searching for Self." How
I
has the
did.
feedback been on that? And have you gotten a chance to play it live yet?
Yeah, totally. I just played it live. I was actually thinking about that while playing it because I just played on Friday, or sorry, Saturday, for this like annual boat cruise that we do, which I obviously I wasn't able to do during COVID, but it's everyone's first show back in like 18 months, first time playing for like actual people, not people sitting in cars, not people sitting at
Yeah.
tables, like an actual audience. And yeah, it was amazing. And I just actually sat there and thought like how proud I was of like how it sounded and like how good all my music sounded against like the other tracks I was playing them with, because I haven't even had the ability to test my songs in a club. Like normally my process would be like make the songs, work on them, get the mix to where I'm happy with it, play it in a club, see what it's like, and then like, you know, make the adjustments from there to like make it you know, stand up to other stuff. I haven't been able to do that because we haven't played music
Yeah.
loud in so long. So that was just sort of like a notable moment of playing it. I was like, holy shit, this sounds actually fucking awesome. Like that's crazy. So yeah, it sounded great. The feedback has been really good so far. There were even it was crazy at the show because there were like people singing the lyrics. And I was like, yo, this came out like yesterday
Wow.
morning. Like that's fucking crazy. So I'm just like happy it's connecting with people. It's a pretty like meaningful song about like self-exploration. So it's cool to like just see other people like see it catching on, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. So speaking of the lyrics, how did you and the vocalist Tribe Alexander like come together for this track?
Totally. So he's like just a homie of mine. We've been friends forever. We've been friends for like 10 years. We used to DJ like one of my old parties together. Um, and I don't even really know how we sort of like reconnected on music stuff. He's a piano teacher, and we started just talking randomly at the beginning of the pandemic, and he had started like teaching piano to try to like get by because he couldn't DJ. And I was like, oh, like, dude, I actually would love to take some piano lessons, like whatever. So we just sort of started talking on uh, uh level of like whatever. And he was sort of like, man, like I just haven't been writing any music. I was like, oh, we should like try something together. And we just like started, you know, just messing around. He sent me a big folder of just ideas. And it's interesting because he has no real like reference point for the kind of music we're making, which I actually think helps in the songwriting process and makes what we do sound more unique than other stuff, because he doesn't come at it from a like, oh, we're gonna make this progressive house song or this techno song, it needs these parts, it needs to be like this. He's just sitting down like chords, melody, and like strictly that. So he sent me, I want to say like 10 songs at one point, and this was one of them. This is like, it was like near the top of the list, and I don't even know if I made it through the list. Like when I heard those, when I got to that one, I was like, yeah, that's the one out of all these. Like that's, you know, I can work on something, and we have a bunch of songs together from just working together over the whole pandemic. But that was the first one where I was like, this is like worth exploring to be something. Like this has everything I'm looking for in like a songwriting perspective, you know?
That's really
Yeah,
awesome.
it was interesting. We did like a lot of sessions like remotely, which it was like very weird.
Hmm.
And like it was never something I had like done before, but it came out pretty good, obviously, you know. Like I mean the song sounds good now after a lot of work. So it was pretty cool, and it was like just like interesting to try things a new way, I guess, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
definitely sounds super like fluid, and like you have a lot of chemistry for doing it over
yeah, thanks. Yeah,
video,
yeah,
because it's
totally. Yeah,
definitely very different. Like I'm just imagining, you said you took piano lessons with him. Like I over video, I assume like that's
yeah, yeah,
gotta be a
totally.
little
Yeah,
harder
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah. I'm not musically like trained in any way like that. I've been self-taught. It's always been one of the things I've like wanted to sort of like add to my arsenal. But that's why we work so well together. Is like every space that I would lack, or like, you know, say that I lack in terms of like making songs, is like something he's very strong in. So like together we're literally one amazing producer musician. It's like I really focus a lot on like sound design, making sure, you know, things feel textured, making sure stuff isn't like, you know, I can mix, I can do all kinds of stuff like that. I get the structure of the songs. The production's really obviously where I'm gonna probably shine in that process. And he is really good at songwriting and just making like very memorable pieces of music that don't
Hmm.
last long. It's a very hard skill to have, is like understanding how to write something that's like short but memorable.
Yeah,
So totally, yeah. It's
that.
funny because he doesn't even, I don't think he really even wanted to be a singer. Like he was just sort of cutting it so that we could find somebody. And I was like, no,
Hmm.
dude, this rocks. Like this is actually like, wait, let me process it a little more and like, you know, put some shine on it. And like your voice sounds great to me. Like I don't want to change this demo at all. And I think he sort of
Yeah.
like, you know, I wouldn't want to speak for him, but I feel like he sort of had to come to terms with the idea that, okay, I'm going to be the singer on this song. You know, like I think he really is striving to be known more as a producer as well, because he is also a great producer and songwriter. So I'm not sure he likes I'm not sure he meant to be the featuring
Yeah.
artist on this, but he is, and everyone's really stoked about it. So I'm pretty happy to be doing music with him.
Yeah, would definitely love to hear more music with you
Yeah,
guys
totally. Oh,
together.
there's a bag. Like we have a lot.
Oh,
We could
awesome.
do we probably could do. It wouldn't be a whole album, but we could do like a 7-song EP or something. You know, like a long play.
Do it.
But yeah, we'll see. We're gonna see. It's gonna come out over time. There's a couple others in the works for sure.
Yeah. So, like you said earlier, this is you have two singles with mau5trap. So,
Yeah,
your latest single is your second single with them. How
yeah,
does it feel to be supported by like literally one of the hugest DJs in the world?
yeah. It's actually it goes even deeper than that, because some of these songs were like literally made from like being inspired by his older stuff. I don't like to listen to new music to search for inspiration. I think that's how you get sort of like you very easily accidentally copy something, or like
Hmm.
have a too similar a sound to like everyone else. So I strive to try to go back. Like I listen to a lot of music from like the early 2000s into the like 2010s, but I don't necessarily sit down and like listen to the newest like Beatport Top 100 and go like, oh, what's like, I'll listen to it to know what's out there. I think it's important to
Hmm.
have your music should sound modern, but literally like the inspiration for some of these songs is me just saying, hey, like I've never explored trying to get into doing stuff like that is reminiscent of like old Eric Prydz and like old Dead Mouse.
Hmm.
And so to be recognized by one of those, like for trying to push the sound they started forward, that's like it's immense. Like I can't even really give you a better word. Like I don't know, it feels crazy.
Yeah, I
It feel
bet.
You know what, it feels like it's like harmonious. It's like I know I'm doing the right thing because I'm being recognized by the people that I'm like, you know, taking the inspiration from. And that's you couldn't ask for more when you're trying to develop something, I don't think, you know.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah, and you.
if I get hit up by Prids next, like I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I'm just there's nowhere left to go. I don't know what to I'll have to explore something different, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, with all your hard work, like you definitely deserve it. And
I
I mean,
appreciate
that's the
that.
thing, like when you work hard, what's the saying? Like work hard and then you get lucky and then that's when things kind of fall in
Oh yeah,
place.
well it's like, oh yeah, no, it's when hard work meets like preparation, hard work and
Yeah,
preparation meets luck or whatever. And
there you
that's
go.
absolutely true. You can totally, I believe you can actually generate your own luck in a lot of ways, but that comes from putting yourself in a position to be lucky. Like it comes
Yes.
from working very hard and being ready when that luck happens. Because lots of people get lucky. I've been lucky before and just not been like been ready to deliver, you know? So I
Hmm.
think there's a lot to be said for like putting in the work to be prepared. That's an excellent point.
Yeah, definitely 100%. So speaking of hard work, you mentioned earlier that you launched your own record label a little before the
Oh yeah,
pandemic started.
totally.
So
Yeah, yeah.
how did that kind of come about? Like, why did you decide to make that move and stuff?
I don't know. You know what? I honestly just it felt like a natural progression. The party, we've been doing like sold out events for like 7 years now in Toronto. It's probably the one of the like longest streaks anyone's ever had throwing events here, and it's the brand was really popular. It felt like it had never been more popular than it was. I was sort of on the brink of like changing up what I do and sort of developing my sound into like what I really wanted it to be. And it just felt like a natural move. It was like, this is the time we need to try to expand more. It's sort of part of a process to try to like, an event can obviously scale out and become large and go everywhere. Look at something like Hard. Look at a bunch of the Disco Donnie properties like started as like small things. Even Dim Mak, for instance, started as like a party. And I guess for me, it was like, okay, a natural progression to try to take this thing in a larger, like out to a larger audience is going to definitely be starting a label. And I initially sort of started as like, I don't know how many other people I really want to take music from. Like, I really just want to have control. I've spent lots of years releasing on various labels, and I'm not going to like knock anyone or say anything's bad, but often you get this feeling of like, something happens and you're upset at someone else. And I don't really like that feeling. And I want to be like in control of my own destiny. So I was like, if at the very least, all this is a place for me to release my own music when I want to release music without having to wait for someone else's 3-month schedule or without having to fit into someone else's marketing plan or whatever, that's what it'll be. And we just sort of started being like, okay, maybe we'll entertain some demos, and we found some things we liked. And then, more people started saying, hey, like this guy, you should check this guy out, or this is my buddy, I want to introduce him to you. And I found this guy Sam Wolf, who absolutely is going to be like a huge artist in techno for sure. We put out one of his like early tracks, and I just started getting lots of records I liked. And like now it's crazy. Now we have a lot. Like we have the most full like the rest of the year we have just like nonstop releases coming out from like great upcoming artists. So it sort of became something more where it's like now I can sort of be part of like other artists' careers and like showcasing their music. I guess that's sort of like the party always has been about finding people before they're like huge. We're
Hmm.
always about being at like the pulse of like what's like new and awesome in whatever sort of like genre we end up doing stuff in. And so I definitely wanted to try to like replicate that from the label side. And it's pretty crazy that it already happened. I was actually like, I thought it would take, I'd sort of said to myself, if it takes like 3 years to find someone who like were the stepping stone into them taking off right after us, like I'd be pretty stoked about that. And it like happened within the first like 6 months. We had
Wow.
Sam, who like we were like his biggest track at the time, and now he's like releasing on Umek's label. And so so sorry.
You're cutting out a little bit.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hmm.
Okay, I can hear you, but your screen looks frozen to me.
Oh no.
Maybe try turning your camera off and turn it back on. Okay, there
Oh
you
no,
are.
we're back. We're back. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I switched to Wi-Fi. I was on. There's like a non 5G connection in my house that isn't very good. My bad.
Okay, yeah, I think it was only the last few words
Yeah, yeah.
that kind of cut out a
That's cool.
little. So I think we're all good. Okay,
Totally.
so when signing a new song or artist to your label, like what are some key things that you're looking for, and where do you kind of like scope out these artists?
Yeah. I guess really what I'm looking for is the first thing that is like overarching over the whole thing is like, is this something I would play in a set? That's usually where I start, is like, will I play this? I do sign stuff that I wouldn't necessarily like play in every set. That's like more sort of diverse sounding. This last track we just put out by Mikey Palermo called Static Room isn't something I'm going to play every night, but it's something I can play, and I do like, I just really liked it a lot. So I decided that we should sign it. So I guess that's sort of it. It starts with like, is this something I would play? And then does this fit the like vibe that I'm trying to curate with the label, which is just like dark, sort of like, you know, cutting edge on the cusp of like a couple things. I really like stuff that has a progressive edge to it. So like if it has sort of like that style where it blends progressive and techno together, which isn't a ton of people, but there's some out there. I'm always going to reach for that stuff. And really just like, is it good? Could I play it? And then do I see something like in the artist? Is the artist, I especially love when people have sort of like trouble fitting in somewhere else. You know, that's a big reason I started the party, was like, I couldn't play certain venues and clubs because I just didn't have the like commercial sound they wanted.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to start my own night. Like, forget that, you know? So if I see that sort of happening, like I talk to them like, oh yeah, man, I've been like, you know, sending it to everybody and it's just like to this or to that for them. I'm like, that actually sort of attracts me to an artist. Cause like I feel like often people like try to fit things into boxes too much, and it has to be one way for this or that. It's like, nah, man, like this, like music is interesting. It's like one of those art forms that all art is subjective, but it's like music especially, you know?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
totally agree.
totally.
Definitely. So back to searching for self. So this is, well, kind of back to all your singles. So you have a few other singles that you released this year. Are these like leading up to anything specific, like an album, or is there more singles on the way, or like what's kind of coming next for you?
Yeah, I definitely have a lot more music coming. I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to be talking about this just yet. So I don't know how to actually fully answer that question. But yeah, there's we're in a big rollout for the rest of the year and leading into the next. We got a lot of music coming. And I'm going to continue, you know, working with mau5trap, doing stuff on my own label. It seems like the formula is working, so we're gonna keep the foot on the gas for a while with it, you know.
Awesome. That's great to
Yeah.
hear. So apart from releasing music, how about any events, any festivals?
Oh yeah, we have a lot in the works. We're in the Toronto area specifically, we've just announced like a couple of boat parties, but we also have just a bunch of stuff coming up throughout the fall. You know, assuming that the restrictions don't go backwards, we're gonna be yeah, totally. We're gonna be primed for a great fall and like leading into next year. I don't know when this is coming out, so it's hard for me to say, but I believe I'm about to be announced on like our biggest like the biggest festival we do in the city here. So that's really dope. Hopefully this doesn't come out before that happens.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got some stuff we're working on trying to go back across Canada. I don't have a US visa at the minute, but we're at the moment, but we're also we do have a lot of stuff in the works to go over there. So I'm just in the process of like getting that sorted back out. I'm actually one of the lucky guys who didn't have one before the pandemic, because a bunch of my friends lost like a year and a half of their visa, and like you don't get it, you don't get it back. Like you paid for it, and that's just that.
Damn.
So I was in a good position not to have one of those, I guess. Yeah, man, lots of shows. Like it's going crazy right now, and they're all like insane. It's exactly what I thought it would be. It's just like it's almost like dangerous how hard people are partying. You know, you're like, hey, you guys might want to chill out a little bit. You know?
Yeah, that's what I felt here in Florida for a while.
Totally. Yeah. You're like, oh, this is kind of crazy. Slow the fuck
get
down.
A little close.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So last question, very serious question.
Okay.
So if you could be reincarnated into any animal, which animal would it be?
Oh man, into any animal?
Yeah, any animal.
Wow, that's so hard. That's actually
it
like
could be
really
what you
question.
would want to, or what you think you would.
Totally. No, it's real. That's a hard question. I definitely I definitely would want to be like, honestly, you know what? I probably want to be like a house cat. House cats have like like a mat. I was gonna try and go crazy and do like some like, you know, whatever like you know, crazy like, you know, ocelot or one of those like interesting whatever cats, like the super designer like pet cats. But no, I think honestly like a designer house cat, you know, like one of those like Sphinx cats or something. You basically just get pampered and lie around in the sun your whole life. It's pretty sweet, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. That does sound
yeah,
like a
totally.
sweet life.
I was gonna go with a dog, but like, yeah, you know, no, I'm going like expensive designer house cat. That's
Yeah,
my
you
jam.
gotta
Yeah,
be
yeah.
spoiled.
I want to come back as like, I want to come back as like a cat that costs like $5,000 to buy.
Yeah, literally,
You
you're
know?
living in
Yeah,
like a big mansion
yeah,
in
yeah,
Beverly
yeah,
Hills or
totally, yeah, exactly,
something.
yeah, exactly, 100%. Yeah, yeah, that's it.
I love it.
That's great.
Well, that's the end of the interview. It was so great
Sweet,
talking with you, learning about you, and we'll have this out later in the week. But
awesome.
everyone
I
that's
appreciate that.
watching, make sure to give Hunter a follow. We'll have the socials linked in the caption, or if you're reading the article, they'll be linked. But yeah.
Sweet, awesome. Thanks so much for
Well,
having me.
have a good
Appreciate
one.
your
Thank
time.
you, Hunter.
Yeah,
Bye.
yeah, totally.